To all of you. Today my topic is about Mother Teresa. Let us all together thank God for this beautiful occasion where we all together proclaim the joy of spreading peace, the joy of love one another, and the joy of acknowledging that the poorest of the poor are our brothers and sisters. We will say it together. Lord, make me a channel of your peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring truth, that where there is wrong, I may bring love, that where there is discord. Lord grant I may bring sick rather comfort than to be comforted. God loved this world so much, so He gave His Son. He gave Him the best Virgin, the blessed Virgin, Mary, and she. The moment He came in her life, in haste, to give Him to others. And what did she do then? She did the work of handmaid, just a spirit. And I never forget when I bought a man from the street. He was full covered of maggots. His face was the only place that was totally clean. And he said just one sentence, I live like an animal in the street, now I am going to die like an angel. Love and care, he died very beautifully. And having enjoyed that love, what it became. At the last moment brought that joy in his life. And I feel one thing, that the greatest peace today is the crying of an innocent unborn child. If a mother can murder her own child and her own womb, then what is left to kill each other? So that the poor it is quiz. You will really believe you will begin that the first love in your home and second next door in your neighbor, in the country we live in the whole world. God give us courage to protect unborn child. Child is the greatest gift of all. Thank you.
Good evening to all of you. Today my topic is the Iron Lady of Pakistan. Well, it is a story of a woman who made people realize that problems are not too big. We are too small because we cannot handle them. It is a story of a woman who with time realized that the real happiness does not lie in success, money, fame. The real happiness lies within our attitude. So now I will tell you the story of the Iron Lady of Pakistan, and her name is Muniba Mazari. You know, she believed in the power of words. Many people speak before they think. But she knew that the words can make you, they can break you, they can heal your soul, and they can damage you forever. So now I will tell you what exactly happened to her. She always tries to use positive words in her whole life wherever she goes. People call it adversity. She called it opportunity. People call it weakness. She called it strength. People call her disabled. She called her differently abled. Some incidents happen in your life that they change your DNA, they can damage you physically. So she belonged to a very conservative family, a Baloch family, where good daughters never say no to their parents. So her father wanted her to marry, and at the age of 18 she got married. And just after 2 years of getting married, she made a car accident. Her husband was driving the car, and somehow he fell asleep and the car fell in the ditch. Somehow he managed to jump out, saved himself, but she stayed in the car and sustained a lot of injuries. Radius and ulna of right arm were fractured. The wrist was fractured. Shoulder bone and collarbone were fractured. The rib cage was fractured, and because of rib cage, lungs and liver were badly injured. She could not breathe. 3 vertebrae of backbone were completely crushed, and she got paralyzed for the rest of her life. And this accident took place in a very far-flung area where there was no first aid, no hospitals, no ambulance. So many people came to rescue her. They dragged her out from the ditch. They gave her CPR, and there was a debate going on that should we take her to the hospital or not. Some people said that there was no advantage of taking her to the hospital because she was about to die. And at last they decided to take her at the back of the jeep that is in the corner and take her to the hospital that was 3 hours far from that area. So doctor put a lot of titanium in her arm. Doctors put a lot of titanium in her back to fix it. That is why people of Pakistan call her the Iron Lady of Pakistan. So one day doctor came and said, I know you wanted to be an artist, but I have a bad news for you. You won't be able to paint again. She stayed quiet. Second day, doctor came again and said, you won't be able to walk again. And when third day, doctor came and said, you won't be able to give birth to a child. That was the worst news for her life. And you know, a woman without children is just incomplete. She went to her mother and said, What is the purpose of living? I cannot walk, I cannot paint, even I cannot give birth to a child, then how I am alive? And she knew that the words can heal your soul when her mother told that maybe God planned something better for you, something bigger for you. Those words kept her alive. After a lot of surgeries, she got discharged from the hospital. She stayed in the hospital for 2.5 months, and in those 2.5 months, once she told her brother that, will you please bring me some colors? I want to add more colors to my life. So she made a drawing of her deathbed. Everybody saw the drawing and they just said that, wow, what a colorful drawing. But nobody focused on what she made. Nobody knew the deepness of the drawing. Only she knew. So after discharging from the hospital, the doctor told her that you have to do bed rest. Not for 1 month, not for 6 months, even not for 1 year, for 2 years. So after 2 years and 2.5 months, she sat in a wheelchair. She saw herself in the mirror and said, it's just enough. Now I will not wait for any miracle to come in my life and change it. I have to accept myself just in the way I am. And she did it. She adopted a child in the name of Nile. Thank you.
Good evening to all of you. Today I am going to tell you the speech of Malala Yousafzai, which is a very great personality, and I think that this name is familiar to everyone here. Today I am going to tell her speech after the Nobel Peace Prize. She said in her speech that today is a day of great happiness for her. She was humbled that the Nobel community has selected her for this precious award. Thank you everyone for your unconditional love and support. She would like to thank to her parents for their unconditional love. Thank you to her mother for inspiring her to be patient always and to be brave always. And thank you to her father for not clipping her wings, let her to fly. Thank you to her wonderful teacher for inspiring her to believe in herself and to be brave always. She was proud. In fact, she was very proud to be the first person, the first Pakistani, the first younger person to receive that award. Along with that, she was pretty certain that she was also the first recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize community and who still fights with her younger brothers. She wanted to be peace everywhere, but she and her brothers are still working on that. When she was in her paradise home somewhat, she loved discovering and learning new things. And she still remembers she and her friends loved to paint, decorate their hands with henna on special occasions. And instead of drawing patterns and flowers, they used to draw mathematical equations and formulas because they had a thirst for education. They think that their future are right there in that classroom. They want to make their parents proud and prove them they can also excel in their studies and achieve those all goals with people that only boys can. But things didn't remain the same. When she was in Sarat, which was a place of beauty and tourists, suddenly changed into a place of terrorism. Women were flogged and education went from being a right to being a crime. Girls are not allowed to go to school and the terrorists were killing the people and they were misusing the name of Islam. But I think that girls are more brave than boys, and in this time also there are many people who have mentality like in the countries India and Pakistan that girls should not be sent to school. But I'm to tell them all that girls are very powerful. If you will send them to school, then they will educate, and education is the most blessing for us. And at last I want to tell you that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So this is the end of my speech. Thank you.